This is the introduction to calculus by finding limits using graphs. If you watch the first video I made, that had to do with the tables. And remember, with a limit is what we're talking about is we're defined on some open interval containing the number c. All right, so we're going to look at some examples using the graphs because that gives us a better visual versus the tables. So for example, here is our c. Our c is this point right here. This number here. All right, and if you would label this point, that would be c, means not 3. That would be c, comma, n. So as x approaches c from the left, and as x approaches c from the right. So here's from the left, here's from the right, from below and from above. The limit approaches n. Okay, in this case, it's undefined because f of c does not equal n, but it doesn't have to be defined there. So at the same time as x approaches c from the left or from below and from above, the limit is n here. This up here has to do with it's just a point. What point is it? That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 6 probably. That's not an interval. It's not a curve. It's not continuous. It's just a point. That can be in your graph, but that has nothing to do with the limit. So the limit is not 6. The limit would be n here. It's not f of c, it's n. Now, on the last one, we have the same thing. It's not defined. F of c is not defined. We don't have this point here. I'm going to go ahead and label this point. This is 2, 6. That point has nothing to do with the limit, so you don't really need that. Here it's undefined at c, but as we get closer and closer to c, as we did in the tables, it gets very, very, very close to n. Okay, and I have about, 7 graphs. We're going to do these very quickly. All right. Okay, the first one is this graph, and we want to know what the limit of this graph is. And so we're going to say the limit of this graph, and again, we don't care about this point here. It's not 3, 3. So as the graph approaches from below, and let me do a different color, from below and from above, it approaches n. In this case, the limit would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So our limit, as x approaches, in this case, it's 2 of this line, I'll just call it f of x for now, equals 4. Because this equals 4 here. That number is 4. Okay? On the next one, we have this little contraption. So we're looking at the limit as x approaches 2 of f of x. So as we approach 2, so as x approaches 2 from the bottom or from the left, and then as x approaches 2 here from the right, we get 3. That's our n. That equals our n, so that's 3. The next one is this little thing. We're going to do the same thing. The limit, I'll write it down. The limit as x approaches 4 of f of x equals -3. And you can see that as x approaches 4 from here, and as x approaches 4 from the right side, we come up with -3. This is always your y value. Okay, the next one, same thing. the limit of x as it approaches 2 of this f of x equals 4. So x approaches 2 from the left and approaches 2 from the right, we come up with 4. Again, this part doesn't matter. That's just a point. And in calculus, we're always looking at curves and intervals and continuous functions. Okay, in this case, the limit of as x approaches 2 of f of x equals 2. Again, we don't look at that. We're looking at this value here. I'm going to go a little faster. Now in this one, we're looking at as x approaches 3, from the left, we're at 3. However, as x approaches 3 from the right, we're at 6. Since you have two different values here, we say that the limit as x approaches 3, this 3, of this f of x graph does not exist. So you're just going to write does not exist. And the next one, it's going to be the same thing. We're looking at this 4 here. So as x approaches 4 from the left, or from this case from this side, we get 4 here. However, as x approaches 4 from the right, this part, we get to 2. And so we say the limit as x approaches 4 of f of x does not exist. In fact, there's like a jump here, a jump and it's discontinuous here. All right. The next video we're going to do is graph our own functions and find the limit, and you have to graph. So I hope this video was helpful.